Good afternoon, folks. My name is Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who's committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me this afternoon, I presume that you're innocent to these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings, unless and until the state attorney's office is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit or the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me today. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. And now to each and every one of you there at the jail, please raise your right hands and be sworn. You all solemnly swear affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? Outstanding. When you hear your name called, please step forward to the podium. Fallon Rockwell. I want to Fallon, what's your afternoon, what's your date of birth?
2/6/85.
Fallon, you're here on a charge of battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD state.
A DUI with no disposition out of Hernando in 2013.
Okay. And is Mr. Ouellette here? Can I come forward? Raise your hand. Solemnly swear, affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
State your name.
Jeremiah Ouellette.
All right, Jeremiah, what do you want to tell me today?
I called by the victim's advocate, and they were talking about the no contact order. But we have the same job. We work at the same place. I don't know how the no contact order is going to work with that.
Okay.
I don't want to personally press any charges or anything like that.
Okay. Do you want to be able to have contact with her?
Yes.
Are you afraid she's going to hurt you or harm you in any way?
No.
Anyone threaten you or coerce you to get you come here to ask to have contact restored?
No, sir.
Okay. Hang on 1 second. Fallon, I have an address for you on Blair Avenue in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
I don't know. My mom built it when I was 1.
Okay. How long have you lived there?
I've been there for about 3 or 4 months now.
Okay. And Fallon, do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm a server bartender at Cody's.
At where?
At Cody's.
Cody's.
Server bar.
Okay. Yep. Okay. All right. Fallon, I'm going to set your bond at $50. Condition of the bond is that if you have any contact with Jeremiah here, it must be peaceful contact. It's always a crime to touch him any way he does not want to be touched. Could be a violation of your conditions of pretrial release if you so much as raised your voice with him. So I'm not telling you have to have contact. I'm just saying if you do have contact, it must be peaceful. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Very good. I'm going to have you back in court on the 17th of May. Very important. That you contact the public defender if you get out, okay? Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Have a seat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jonathan Burke.
Judge, we believe we have an offer on him.
Okay.
He's been in Pasco since 3/18. He's got a total of 44 days, including that time.
Is it time served offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Jonathan, you want to take time served and be done with this? Looks like you're driving on a suspended license charge.
I got a question real quick.
Sure.
Before I take that.
Sure.
I was never charged with a driving while suspended. I got a traffic warning citation right here in paperwork saying that I got a failure to maintain a single lane. That was it. Also, how do I have an FTA when I was incarcerated since March 13th? I've been in Pasco the whole time.
I know. That's the credit they were going to give you. Credit. The time they were going to give you credit for. Hang on.
I wouldn't like. I mean, if you've got something on me, then I'll take time, sir. But I don't want to drive suspended if I don't have one. I was never charged with.
I think we'll need to
Hang
speak
on.
with him.
Hang on. I think I probably know what the problem is. Let's see.
On March 13th, I was arrested, but I was held on a warrant in Pasco. That was it. I had no charges at all. Here in Hernando County.
No, they wrote you a criminal citation for driving on a suspended license, and you didn't get a chance to sign it because the trooper arrested you on something else.
I didn't know I had a citation at all. I got paperwork here, traffic warning. That's about it.
Okay, well, it's your choice. If you want to talk to a lawyer about it, then
I'll take time, sir.
I'll set the bond at $2,000. You want to take time, sir, to do that? You understand? By your plea today, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent. But you're willing to give up those rights so we can take care of this today?
Yes, sir.
Case number 19 CT 1158 as the charge that you drove knowing your license had been suspended or revoked. How do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest.
No contest.
Accept that plea, find it's freely and voluntarily made. Adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 30 days in the county jail, credit 30 days served. Finding court cost is $488. There is no cost of incarceration because you did that time in another county. That takes care of it, Jonathan. If there's nothing else keeping you in the jail, you'll be released today, okay?
I do have I'm sentenced in Pasco. Can you put me on a transfer list?
Yeah, if you have time still to do in Pasco, they'll let Pasco know that you're done here. They'll come get you right away.
They've got a hold on him.
All right, very good. Thank you. Matthew Holland. Morning, Matthew. It's your date of birth.
June 23rd, 1987.
Matthew, we've got 4 charges today. I've got a battery being domestic in nature, a resisting without violence, a felony possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Honestly, Your Honor, I'm unsure at this time.
Okay, good enough.
You can assign a public defender, and if I don't need him, I'll change it later.
I'll appoint the public defender, and State looks like he's got open criminal cases right now.
Yes, Your Honor, 2019 CF-282, grand theft. Date of offense, December of 2018.
Okay. All right, and Matthew, I had an address here on Fuller Street in Spring Hill. Is that where you're living?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
A little bit over 2 years.
Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm a line cook at Glory Days.
Okay. And was Megan living at that same address?
No, sir. She moved.
When did she move?
Yesterday.
Okay. All right. On the battery, I'll set the bond at $1,000. On the resisting at $1,000, the marijuana $2,000, and the paraphernalia $1,000. That should be a total of $5,000 on this case. Condition of that bond is that you will have no contact with Megan while these charges are pending. In your case, that's going to mean that you will not call her or write her from the jail.
All right, question, sir.
Hang on, I'm not done. You'll have when I'm done, then you can ask questions. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Let's see. I'm going to move these cases to the 3rd of May. I think they told you the 28th. I'm going to move them to the 3rd because that's where your other cases are. And the other thing we're going to do is job number 1 when you're out on bond in a criminal case is don't pick up new charges. It appears to me that you have. Therefore, pursuant to Florida Statute 903.0471, I'm going to revoke your bond in 19 CF 282. I'm going to hold it without bond until that case comes back, which is also on Friday, the 3rd of May. Judge Merritt has the ability to reinstate that bond if he wishes, but you'll be on no bond now until Friday at least, and then you'll find out where you're going from there. public defender is going to come see you at the jail before your court date unless you tell him otherwise. Do you have another question for me?
Yes. Can you, being that I'm incarcerated right now, I haven't really got a chance to talk to my attorney. So, is there any way that you could set me a PD on all my cases?
You don't have a PD on. You're not represented on the felony.
I was, but I had a deadline to pay $3,000, and I think it's before the 3rd. Okay. So he's probably going to drop me by that time.
Okay, I'll appoint the public defender in 19 CF 282.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Jeremy Nibbs. After Jeremy, what's your date of birth?
3573.
Jeremy, you're here on 2 warrants. Both were signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause on the first one for dealing in stolen property and defrauding a pawnbroker, and the second one for grand theft auto. As for those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point to PD. State what can you tell me?
Pinellas County, possession of contraband in county detention facility, and a driving with license suspended, and a DUI that all looks to be pending from January of 2019, an adjudication for a Willis out of Tampa, as well as a possession of ammo by convicted Florida felon, marijuana possession adjudication in 2018, actual constructive possession of a synthetic in 2017 adjudicated in Pinellas County, a adjudication for false owner info upon items less than $300 in 2015 out of Pinellas County, as well as a grand theft adjudication out of Pinellas County, a battery adjudication withheld in 95, and resisting officer pretrial diversion in 95.
Okay. And Jeremy, I've got an address for you on Lima Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
2 years.
Do you have a job these days?
No, I'm getting a pension from the military.
Okay. All right. Jeremy, I'm going to set your bond at $2,000 on each of the 4 counts, so that's a total of $8,000, excuse me. You'll be back in court on the 28th of May on all of these charges. If you bond out, it's very important that you contact the public defender. If you're not able to get out, they'll come see you before you go to court, okay?
Yes, sir. One question.
Sure.
My EOS date in Pinellas County is June 14th. So will I be transferred back over here on the 28th, or?
My guess is you're done in Pinellas. You've been sentenced down there. Everything's finished.
Yes. No, June 14th it will be.
I know, but I mean, you're not going to court anymore.
No, sir.
Okay, then you'll probably stay right here until we get these resolved. I can't imagine they'll have Pinellas come and get you between now and the end of May.
Unless you post the bonds.
Yeah, unless you post these bonds. If you post the bonds, then they're going to ship you back.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Isaiah LaFranchi. Afternoon, Isaiah. What's your date of birth?
3/30/2000.
Isaiah, you got 2 charges today. I've got an armed robbery and aggravated battery. There's probable cause for the charges. As to those charges, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point the PD, state.
Your Honor, the defendant doesn't have any prior criminal history.
Isaiah, I've got an address for you on Warbler Road in Weekiwachi. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
6 years.
You have a job these days? You in school? What's going on?
No, sir. And no, I'm not in school.
Okay. Set your bond on the robbery at $25,000. On the ag bat, I'll leave that at $5,000. That's a total of $30,000. Condition of those bonds is that you'll have no contact with Tyler Ortiz. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. You don't contact him through any social media. You don't go where he lives. You don't go where he works. You don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine having contact, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bonds will be revoked and you'll be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if he wants it. So if you answer your phone and hear his voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see him, you should turn around and run the other way. You further need to understand that he cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision he'd ever be allowed to make. It's conceivable he might go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges, but that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped, and you should not have contact. We'll have you back in court on the 28th of May. If you bond out, it's very important that you contact the public defender right away. If you're unable to bond out, they're going to come see you at the jail prior to your court date, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. James Miller. Afternoon, Jim. What's your date of birth? All right, Jim, I got a warrant for you out of Citrus. Judge that signed the warrant thinks you failed to appear on a misdemeanor case and set your bond at $2,000. I can't change that. If you can post the $2,000, you can get out of jail here. Go up to Citrus, find out when they want you in court. If you can't post it, I'll give Citrus 5 days to come get you. It doesn't take 5 with Citrus, but if for some strange reason you're still here in 5, they'll bring you back to see me, all right?
And so you can't change none. I was in Pinellas County when the court date was issued.
Jim, I'm with you. That's kind of the main reason people fail to appear. It probably means you'll never be charged with the crime of failing to appear, but this is how they get you back on the docket.
Yes, sir. So Citrus County should be coming to get you soon then? Or?
It'll be quick. If you let them know at the jail that you're not bonding out, they'll get them down there tomorrow or the next day, I'm sure. Thank you. Louis Pastor. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
7/23/50.
List of charges: battery on a person 65 or older. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like a public defender?
I have private counsel.
Okay, who's that?
Whittle and Melton.
Do they know where you are this afternoon?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They were here this morning.
Okay. State what you tell me.
Hernando.
Hang on.
Hernando battery on person 65 years of age or older in August of 2016, where the defendant took pretrial diversion. No other history, Your Honor.
Okay. And sir, I have an address for you on El Portico Lane in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
Oh, over 6 years, sir.
All right. Do you have a job these days?
I'm retired.
Okay. And Maria lives with you at that address?
Excuse me?
Maria lives with you at that address?
Yes, sir.
Very good. And she's not here, right? Maria's not here? Okay. All right. Listen, I'm going to set your bond at $2,000. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Maria. Did you hear me explain what no contact means a moment ago?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Further, I'm going to hold you up until 4 p.m. this afternoon so that she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence. We'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact, because in that case, not only could you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. I'll have you back in court on the 28th of May. As far as that address on El Portico goes, as long as she stays there, you'll have to find someplace else to stay while we get this case resolved. You can go by one time to grab your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need for wherever you plan to go. To do that, however, you must contact the sheriff's office first. They'll meet you there with a deputy who will stand by while you collect your things and get going where you're going, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Joseph Pendola. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
2/14/81.
So I've got 2 counts of battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
A dropped aggravated battery on a pregnant person, same victim in 2018, a probation violation reference on Hernando County in 2013, where he went on probation for possession of paraphernalia in 2012. Child neglect out of Hernando County with no disposition, a 2012 sale, deliver or possess with intent cannabis in 2012, adjudication withheld.
And Joe, the address I have, it looks like, is it Chaka Street in Brooksville?
Correct.
How long have you lived there?
Coming up on 7 weeks.
So either Laura or Dylan live there too?
Laura does, Dylan does not.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
I did. The staffing agency just pulled me off of the one I was at.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond on these at $2,000 each. That's a total of $4,000. Condition is that you have no contact with either Laura or Dylan. Did you hear me explain no contact?
I did, Your Honor. Is there any way, just because of the ability of getting myself out, is there any way to lower the bond anymore?
No. I think the bond is appropriate. I'm also going to hold you until 4 p.m. on both cases, so if either of them want to serve you with injunctions, we'd know where to find you. And I'll have both cases back on the 17th of May. Very important that you contact the public defender if you get out, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. George Santiago.
Your Honor.
Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
5371.
All right, George, you're here on a probable cause arrest for a violation of probation. There is probable cause for the VOP. As to that charge, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond, of course, is no bond. I'm going to change the date to the 10th of May. It looks like they told you the 28th. I'll have you back in front of Judge Toner on the 10th. Public defender will come see you before then, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Cameron Snyder. Morning, Cameron. What's your date of birth?
11/26/2000.
Cameron, the charge is armed robbery. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, sir.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
No prior history, Your Honor.
Cameron, I'll also set your bond at $25,000. Condition is that you have no contact with Mr. Ortiz. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Very good. I'm going to have you back in court on the 28th of May. If you get out, you should contact the PD right away. If you can't get out, they're going to come see you at the jail, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Eric Snyder. Afternoon, Eric. What's your date of birth?
9/28/85.
So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 charges today, Eric, total. They are identity theft, forgery, false name to law enforcement, driving on a suspended license, possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and resisting without. There's probable cause for all of those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself, you're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, State.
It looks like a Pasco battery with no disposition from 2017, a guilty adjudication in 2012 for grand theft out of Hernando County, a adjudication withheld in 2011 for possession of cannabis, and actual constructive possession of synthetic in 2011 adjudication, and that was also out of Hernando County.
Okay. Eric, I have an address for you on Jefferson Street. Is that where you live?
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
Just a couple months.
Do you have a job these days?
Yeah, self-employed, work for cut grass, lawn service.
Okay. going to set your bond on each one of the 7 cases at $1,000. That's a total of $7,000. They're all coming back on May 28th. If you're able to get out, you should contact the public defender right away. If you can't get out, they're going to come see you at the jail, all right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew Stevens. Afternoon, Matthew. What's your date of birth?
2/15/96.
All right, Matthew, you're hearing a warrant out of Hillsborough County. The judge that signed that warrant found probable cause for a VOP and set your bond at no bond. I can't change that. We'll let the folks in Hillsborough know that you're here and ready to go. I'll give them 5 days to come get you. Shouldn't take 5 with Hillsborough, but if for some strange reason you're still here in 5, they'll bring you back to see me and I'll find out what the holdup is, all right?
Yep.
Thank you. Jason Wynn.
And Judge, I think we also likewise have a resolution on that.
Okay.
He's got a couple of days out of county. It's a total of 7 days, and there's no restitution. Items were recovered from Coles.
Then it's time served?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, Jason, you want to take time served on this and be done with it?
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right. You understand by entering a plea, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent. But you want to give up those rights so we can take care of this today?
That's correct.
Case number 18, MM2683, that's the charge of petty theft. How do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest.
No contest.
I'll accept the plea, find it's freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 7 days in the county jail. Credit 7 days served. Fine and court costs is $670. And that should take care of it. If there's nothing else keeping you in the jail, you will be released today, all right?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good luck. And Jonathan Ferry. Afternoon, Jonathan. What's your date of birth?
09/29/1985.
Jonathan, I have a possession of paraphernalia and a dealing in stolen property. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I'll take the public defender for now.
Point the PD, state.
Adjudication withheld in 2017 for possession of marijuana out of Pinellas County. 8 adjudication withheld in 2009 for petty theft out of Hillsborough County. A resisting arrest with violence. Adjudication of guilt in 2009. And no other history, Your Honor.
Okay. Jonathan, where you been staying lately?
Up Webster Street, 1258 Webster.
Okay. And you have a job these days?
I was supposed to start one today.
Okay. What kind of work were you going to be doing?
Roofing.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $1,000 on each one of these, so the total is 2. The paraphernalia is coming back on the 17th of May. The stolen property on the 28th of May. If you get out, it's very important that you contact the public defender. If you can't get out, they'll come see you at the jail before your court dates, okay?
Yes, sir.